Hi, I'm Laura and I haven't had a drink in 8 years. And no, I'm not crazy. No, I'm not an alcoholic. And no, I don't miss it. Today I'm sharing 15 things that happened to me when I quit drinking. And trust me, if you're a person who's tired of being hungover, this video is for you. Before we dive in, I want to mention that this video has a paid partner and it's BetterHelp. I will talk about them later in this video. So now let's talk about why I stopped drinking at the age of 21, which is quite funny because, for instance, in the US, this is the legal drinking age, but I had been drinking since I was 12, and I'll dive into that a little later in the video. But by the time I was 21, I had already been drinking quite a lot, like through middle school, high school, and university. And there are three main reasons why I stopped drinking, the two of them being most important. The third one has become more clear to me only recently. I mean, I was always aware of it, but I just basically stopped drinking because of these two, and the third one was just my backstory. Number one is I just hated feeling hungover. I hated that. No matter how much I had drunk, I would always wake up with a hangover. In the morning, I would be tired, nauseous, unproductive, foggy. I just hated that feeling. And when I was 21, I was a student. I was at university. And to me, drinking and studying don't necessarily have to go hand in hand. And I was never a party girl during university. I had been when I was in high school. But at university, I just didn't want to continue drinking because my studies were more important to me. And I felt like my Saturdays and Sundays would just be unproductive. I would not be feeling proud of myself because I just really wanted to give my studies and myself my all. And the second reason is that I wanted to lose weight. I had a very troubling relationship with food. I was addicted to sugar, addicted to working out at some point, many types of disordered eating and working out habits throughout my early adolescence. By the time I was 21, I was just so fed up with the fact that no matter how much I was working out and no matter how much I was taking care of my overall diet, I couldn't lose weight. And I knew that alcohol was just empty calories, but it's not just alcohol, it's the snacks that you have, it's the amount of alcohol, it's the water that you store. So I was aware that alcohol was holding me back, and also my fitness progress was not as impressive as I would have hoped for. So I had to take it off the table completely, stop drinking altogether. And the third and final reason, which was always clear to me, but I never linked it to my personal journey, which should have been obvious, is that I come from an alcoholic home. I have a father who's still alive, who is still an alcoholic. As a little girl, I was exposed to a lot of drinking and a lot of passing out and a lot of violent behaviors that stopped, thank God, when I was 12 and my mom divorced my father. By the time I stopped drinking, I had already cut ties from my father, and only recently did it occur to me in therapy how many of my own behaviors were a result of me being a child of an adult with an addiction. These three were why I wanted to stop drinking. And I did. And I never looked back. And here are 15 things that happened to me that I discovered once I stopped drinking. Number one, no more hangovers. The best part of this whole experience of being sober. Waking up and being ready to take on the day, on a Saturday, on Sunday, and not feeling like anything is holding me back, and not feeling guilty that it was me who had done it to myself. No more stomach aches, no more foggy brain, no more headaches, no more feeling like I can't eat anything. That was the worst part. Like, I was always craving stuff that was unhealthy, and when I stopped drinking, I was like, I have control again. I could do anything and have a fresh start every single day. I loved that so much that it was already a win to me. Like, even those next 14 things that I want to say they are incredible, but this one thing, no more hangovers, a blessing, a true blessing, and the best part of being and staying sober. Number two is that I finally lost weight. And you can imagine how happy I was when I finally found the thing that I needed. I had my diet right, I had my workouts right, and I had my sobriety right. Without alcohol and its empty calories, it was so much easier for me to stick to my fitness and diet goals. And by diet, I just mean whatever you eat, like your type of food and what you eat is your diet. It doesn't have to be cutting down calories and restricting yourself. So I was already on the healthy path. It proved to be the solution that I had been looking for so long. And the best part is, coming back to number one, is that I didn't wake up after drinking with some weird junk food cravings, and my progress was faster and more significant, and finally I found what was working for me. Number three, I saved so much money. Look, drinking in bars is expensive, but drinking your own alcohol at parties is also expensive. When you think about it, it adds up pretty quickly. When you have one drink or one beer or one bottle of wine, it may not be just something that you notice when it comes to your budgeting and finances. But after 3 weeks of drinking, after 3 months of drinking, after a whole year of drinking, it turns out that you spent a lot of money on alcohol. And then what did you spend it on really? Probably mostly all of the side effects that you were not happy with. Think about it. When you stop drinking, you don't pay for a substance that takes you out. Even when I go to parties nowadays, whenever I go to the bar and I see the prices of drinks, I'm like, what the hell? It's unbelievably expensive. Spending money on alcohol stopped being an issue, and I saved a lot, and I'm so happy and proud of myself. Number four is that I started to learn how to say no. And now I can tell you how I started drinking and why I started drinking at the age of 12. So I had an older best friend. She was the type of person that everyone gravitated towards, even when we were 12, 13, 14. And she loved hanging out with older teenagers. I was younger than her. If she told you, hey, let's go to this party, you would not be able to say no because you wanted to be cool, you wanted to hang out with her. But it's not something that I was aware of when I was 12 that I could say no. I mean, I knew, but I just didn't want to. I wanted to have fun. When I was 12, I had my first drink with her at some kind of like local festival. We had some beers, and I think I drank 2 beers and I was knocked out when I was 12. And that was the beginning of this crazy journey that I was on. I was drinking more and more and more. I think when I was 18, I was already like drinking half a bottle of vodka by myself at parties. I was always saying yes to every single invitation that I got because I knew that if I go to a party, then I'll be cool. And then if I drink at this party, I'll be even cooler. And if I drink a lot, people will be like, oh my gosh, she can drink a lot. She's so fun. She's so cool. I wish I could hold this girl and just hug her and be like, you don't have to do this. When I started to realize that going to these parties at the age of 18, 19, 20, 21 meant that people would be drunk, and if I wanted to fit in, I would have to be drunk too. And I had these slow realizations that maybe I don't want to drink anymore. Once I stopped drinking, I started to learn how to say no. No to invitations, no to drinks, no to hanging out with people that I wouldn't normally hang out with. So many of these relationships were not genuine anyway. So I just learned how to say no and how to stand my ground and be even more assertive and be like, hey, if you want to do it, that's fine. No judgment. But I'm just not going to participate. Number 5 is that I learned who my real friends were. Like I told you just a second ago, I used to hang out with people that I probably wouldn't have hung out with had it not been for drinking alcohol together. And I would come to those parties and I would be like, hey, today I'm not drinking. People would ask me so many questions, and ultimately, some of them, if not most of them, would alienate me because I was sober. That was a sobering up moment, pun intended, because I realized that they no longer wanted to hang out with me if I was not on their state of consciousness, like on the same level, in the similar way. I was sober, I was seeing more things, I was not acting stupid, I was not doing drunken things, I was not like this. So they eventually stopped seeing me as fun. Maybe what happened is when they saw me and they knew that I was sober at the party, they were being reflected back their own reasons why they were drinking, their own insecurities, their own problems, and they just couldn't take it. So they wanted to take me out of the picture completely, not to be reminded of the reasons why they are drinking, because maybe they were just overcompensating. That's just my analysis. But quitting drinking proved to be incredible for my closest circle. I only kept the people who were okay with me not drinking, who didn't have any problem with that. So yeah, I just learned who liked me for me and who liked me for the crazy things that I was doing or saying when I was drunk. And one important thing to add, I'm talking from my perspective, but maybe you can see that from your perspective happening in your life as well. Those connections that you build on nights out or when you drink with people, not real relationships. Not real friendships. Why do you need a drink to be close to someone? Why do you need to be drunk to feel like you're connected and you can say, oh, I like you so much, I respect you so much, this is like the real talk, I'm just like straight from my heart. Like, why can't you do that sober? Just a question. Number 6, no more drama. If I told you the things that I did or the things that happened when I was drunk as a teenager or later, you probably have some of your own, so you know what kind of drama I'm talking about. Kissing people, I'm talking about sleeping with people, never slept with anyone drunk, starting fights. This is so fucking stupid. Like, drunk drama is so fucking ridiculous, unnecessary, stupid, and I'm just, oh my god, I'm so happy that I no longer carry the weight of starting some drama, continuing some drama, getting involved in some drama voluntarily or not. Believe me, once you stop drinking, your life becomes peaceful and you're like, why was I doing those things in the first place? This is not who I really am, and I don't want to become this person because of some substance. And I realized and I decided that I didn't want that for myself. I can't even believe that it used to be a part of my life. I feel so sorry for you, younger Laura, and I'm so happy this is not your reality anymore. People don't understand. Most people don't understand, and that's okay. I had a few friends that cut me out of their life completely once I stopped drinking alcohol. If they didn't want me in their life, I don't want them in my life. Like, I'm not gonna be there for anyone who doesn't want me because I'm not drunk. But this doesn't end there. I am sober and I still go to parties and I still go to events and family gatherings and places where people find me, meet me, and talk to me. But then people have questions like, why are you not drinking? Like, are you an alcoholic? Are you pregnant? I usually say that I stopped drinking when I was 21 because I had already been drinking for 9 years since I was 12, and I was on a very bad spiral and I just didn't want that in my life anymore and I didn't need alcohol. And then when I give this answer, people are like, okay. There are people who understand. There are people like, you do you, girl. I support you. I respect that. But there are people who are like, but why? And then when they hear my answer, they are like, oh. And I can see that they are probably in their heads going through their own reasons, again, like why they are drinking, like they are being confronted with their own reality and their own reasons for drinking. But to be completely honest with you, I always feel a little bit uncomfortable that I'm this person to bring this out in people, because that may always result in somebody being like, okay, and not wanting to speak with me. She's sober, I don't want to talk to her. So it's like Russian roulette. You never know who is going to respond in what way to you not drinking and to you saying why you're not drinking. And that's, again, the test of people, like, who's going to be supportive, who's going to be okay with it, who's going to be like, you're weird, who's going to be like, I'm not hanging out with her anymore. But also, I told you that I get uncomfortable every time because this is like the initial reaction. Your brain wants you to fit in, and when you don't fit in, it's like you fear being rejected, and it's like this old primal fear that we all have. But then my secondary reaction is that I'm grounded in my decision. I'm assertive. I know why I do this, and I never say yes to just one drink. If you're going to parties and you're sober, this is what it is. It's a game. I hate playing it. I wish I didn't have to play it, but we're living in a society, so. Number 8, I stopped trying to impress people. Drunk Laura? She wanted to be cool. She wanted to fit in. She would have 2 shots in 2 hands and drink them simultaneously. She would be dancing on tables, doing so many things that I don't want to list out anymore. I stopped trying to fit in. I stopped trying to be cool. I stopped trying to impress people with my alcohol intake. Everything that came out of me, like my personality, the traits, slowly but surely I started working on bringing them out when I'm sober. So now when I go to parties, I'm still social. I talk to people. I don't need a drink in my hand. I started working on that on my own, but quitting drinking made me realize that I don't need this weird support to be engaging in meaningful conversations. They can be meaningful and genuine once both sides are meaningful and genuine. Like they come from this meaningful and genuine place. And I started cultivating this authenticity in myself. And Laura doesn't want to impress people by doing weird stuff anymore. Yay. I had so much more free time once I stopped drinking. When you're not spending your nights out drinking and your mornings recovering, suddenly you're being met with this reality that you have a lot of free time, a lot more free time, and you can do whatever you want with it. For me, when I stopped drinking, that's when I really started to focus on my passions. Writing, creating content, learning new skills. To me, that was like I had so much more time that I usually spent just existing and trying not to throw up all day. And to be honest, not drinking gave me the time and the clarity to start building the life that I wanted. And the result is that I have this YouTube channel and I have this amazing career, and it's all because I had the time to build it for myself. I'm really happy and I'm really proud of myself because I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have experienced so many incredible things if I hadn't started working on myself so much, so intentionally. And I'm super happy and super proud of the way that I spent all of this free time in. Number 10 is that I really got to know myself better. The reason why I drank in the first place, like I told you, was because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be interesting to people. I wanted to be part of the conversation that I wouldn't be part of if I wasn't drinking. Once I stopped drinking, something that was very unpleasant at the beginning but later became more and more comfortable for me was confronting the feelings, the emotions, and the beliefs and the thoughts that I had about myself that I used to numb out with alcohol. I started journaling. I started reflecting. I started working on why I was the way I was, why I didn't feel like I fit in. Once I stopped drinking, I was like, Laura, you need to actually see that you're always fun. You've always been fun, but your whole life you just didn't have this feeling that you belong. All of those new feelings and new realizations were so uncomfortable. And oh my God, I am so proud of myself that I went through that and I emerged on the other side, because working through my challenges was something that I needed to do. And quitting alcohol again gave me the clarity on what I wanted in life and how I can get it, how I can like and love myself in the process without feeling that I'm sacrificing a part of myself in order to make other people or even myself like me more. All of the efforts and all of the work has been paying off, and I can't see it not paying off in the future anymore. It can only benefit me continuously. And before we move on to the final 5 points on the list, I would like to thank the paid partner of this video, BetterHelp. If you're on your self-improvement healing journey, it might be easier if you have someone to talk to. And BetterHelp is a platform that connects you to a credentialed therapist from the comfort of your own home. Whether you're working through a big life change, dealing with a lot of stress, or you want to get to know yourself a little bit more, BetterHelp is here to help. The BetterHelp platform is a place where you can communicate with your therapist effectively. You can choose your preferred way of connecting to your therapist via chat, phone call, or video. All of these options are always available. There are group sessions that you can join to facilitate your healing process. For instance, last week I joined the group session for adults raised by parents with addictions, and it was so big for me. There were people who'd gone through what I'd gone through, and they had the courage to talk about it. And I had the courage, thanks to them, to talk about it too. And I was shaking the entire session, but I knew that it was because for the first time in my life, I was openly talking about how my father's addiction influenced me and shaped me, and I was feeling so relieved because in individual therapy, you're on your own with your therapist, and that gives you a completely different healing space than when you're with people and you're talking about things that happen to you and you hear, yeah, I know, I've been through that too. It's incredibly supportive to heal even further. Like I said in my last video, I've been in therapy for 5 years and I only recently discovered group therapy thanks to BetterHelp. And the result is I have never felt more seen and more held and more supported by groups of people who deeply understand what it's like to be in my position as well. And one of the best features of BetterHelp is if you get matched with a therapist that you don't necessarily mesh with and you don't feel like it's a great fit, you can keep looking until you find someone that you can really connect with and talk to and feel open and honest with. Starting therapy with BetterHelp is super easy. Just fill out a questionnaire, and usually within a few days, you will be matched to a credentialed therapist. They carefully make sure that therapists on the platform are well qualified, and customer support is also there to make sure you get the help that you need. So if you're struggling and you feel like you would benefit from a therapy session, go to the link in the description box or go to betterhelp.com/Laura Maliszewska. It's also here on the screen to get 10% off your first month of therapy. And thank you so much to BetterHelp for being the paid partner of this video. So coming back to the things that happened to me when I quit drinking is the next thing, which is huge. I realize what role alcohol plays in our society. Let me explain, and I'll try to be as brief as I can, because alcohol has been around for humans forever, and here and now in our lives, it's still everywhere. Once I stepped away from drinking, I realized how ubiquitous and normalized drinking is. It's everywhere. It's at work. It's at family celebrations. It's at parties. It's at home. It's during sports events, concerts, everywhere. It's so normalized to be drinking. When I realized it, I felt like I broke out of the Matrix. And I'm not exaggerating. And if you don't drink, people are like, you're the weird one. Why are you not participating in our culture? By our culture, I mean the drinking culture. But once you start doing your own research, you start realizing what the bigger repercussions are, what the detriment to your own health is, you realize that you don't have to participate in this global, societal numbing out. Number 12 is that I cut ties with my alcoholic father and I healed my past. My life was never easy. I grew up with a narcissistic, alcoholic, abusive father. I had already cut ties with him by the time I stopped drinking, but it was only physically. Emotionally, I was still suffering from his addiction way into my adulthood. There were so many things that I never fully realized that were part of me, that were part of my own personality, that I thought were who I was, that were actually my coping mechanisms that I developed in an unstable household. He actually drank and drove with me and my younger brother inside the car. He did so many things that were just plain dangerous and illegal. He's still addicted, and I doubt that he's watching these videos. But there are some things that if they happen to you during your crucial developmental stages when you're a kid, they have long-term effects on your psyche, which I still am healing from. It's so hard to be talking about this so openly, but even my addiction to food, or even like the way I was responding to other people and wanted to drink because I thought that would make me cool. They were side effects of me growing up in a home where drinking was so normalized. And I'm not talking about like drinking regular amounts, even though according to the World Health Organization, there are no safe amounts of alcohol that you can intake. I was a child that was given beer to drink at the age of 2 or 3 because my father was always drinking when he was playing with me. I remember vividly the smells and the sights and the physical. I hate that. I hate the fact that I had gone through that when I was a child. And when I stopped drinking, I had already distanced myself so much from my father that I was able to notice so many other traits that I had carried with me into my early adulthood. If you are a person who has or had a parent or both parents who are addicted to substances, you will realize that even though these are things that you kind of expect that you're going to be healing from, and you're like, wow, I didn't even know that. Even though that was obvious to me, there are layers of healing to be discovered and uncovered and unearthed in that process. So that's something that was the most rewarding thing in my life. The next thing that was quite unexpected but kind of expected as well, which I'm really proud of, is that some people started to come to me for advice. Quitting alcohol is not a popular choice, as we already established. There were people who, once they discovered that I was sober and not drinking, asked me how I did that. And even in the comments, you can participate in a discussion. You can share your thoughts and tips if you're sober or if you're interested in quitting alcohol. Just put your questions or your advice in the comments for other people to see. And that's also what I'm doing in this video. I'm just trying to help you see if this is something that you also want to do by telling you about my experience. And in real life, people ask me questions. They want to know, was it difficult? What do you do when you are at a party and people are drinking and you don't want to participate? Like, how do you deal with that? When people started coming to me, I realized how big this is, like how big my decision actually was, because it wasn't only impacting me personally, even though I did it for me. It was also impacting everyone around me because I was the odd one out. I was not participating in something that 99% of the people were. I believe that this is so valuable. That's why I'm making this video, because I don't think we should be drinking. Because when you stop drinking, you can have deeper, more meaningful conversations with people without the alcohol, and you can remember those conversations for longer. They can impact you more and more deeply. And those conversations that I had about me not drinking and sharing my experience with others only deepened my relationships and made them more and more valuable. The quality of my life has improved overall. For instance, when I'm going on vacation, I don't drink. That makes me so much more relaxed, so much more at ease, so much more in tune with my surroundings wherever I am. The deeper layer that not many people get to experience unless they quit drinking. Once you give up alcohol, go within and you're like, why did I even drink? Like, you start exploring that, questioning yourself, then it can become a practice to be questioning other beliefs and other things that you do or other habits. And once you start peeling off these layers of conditioning by our society, once you go deep enough and you become so intentional about every single thing that you do in life, your quality of life will drastically improve once you go on this path of not drinking and seeing more, hearing more, realizing more, and making choices that align with what you really want. And even exploring and realizing what you want, because one of the things that we don't know as humans is we don't know what we want. So if you have a clear head and you don't drink to stuff these feelings, you can actually start asking yourself, what do I really want? What do you really want? Huh? My health improved. And I'm going to be a little sassy and a little bit too honest maybe for some people, but I think that my health is better than many of my peers. I think that my face is less puffy. I can see that my skin is so much clearer. I don't have this water weight everywhere that comes with drinking as well. My energy levels are so much higher. My Friday nights, my Saturday nights look so much different because I am not putting poison into my liver. What are you doing if you're drinking? Do you still want to be in the shape that you are? Do you still want to be puffy-faced, hungover? Alcohol is such a huge contributing factor to so many things. The quality of your thinking will be deteriorating if you continue drinking. And I can tell you that I feel so clear in my head. Like, my thinking, my thoughts, my intuition are so sharp. Who do you want to be in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Do you really think alcohol will help you with that? And that's what I asked myself. And I was like, do you want to lose your baby face so quickly? All of my questions and all of my answers pointed to the fact that I didn't need, and more importantly, didn't want to be drinking. Please like this video if you liked it, because that helps me out so much with the algorithm and making this video more visible to other people. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much again to BetterHelp for partnering with me on this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.